Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Hey, how's everybody doing out there? It's been a few days, but we're back, and by we, I don't mean just me. I mean myself and my co-host and wonderful dear friend, Mr. Don Longbeard is here with me.
That would be me. Sometimes fortunately, sometimes unfortunately.
Might have an echo. There we go.
Might have an echo. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I think I had two of those things on. I don't know how that worked.
Well, I was going to say
Wow.
nobody wants to hear me twice.
Shadow Walker hitting the ground running. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Representing Canada. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the donations, folks. That helps us a bunch. But just so you know, I mean, if you're not able to donate, that's fine. Just share the videos. Share to your social media. Let people know about the portal. I mean, you can grab a share link from this, put it on your social media, and boom, we're out there.
And there we're there.
And it's something that we can't do for ourselves. You know, that's the one thing that you guys can do for us that we can't do for ourselves. We can't post ourselves on your pages and stuff like that, but it sure goes a long way into helping us establish the portal and making it bigger, better, and greater than it is already. And did I turn on the torches? Did you turn on the torches?
I turned them on.
Is mine on too?
Yeah, yours.
Okay,
on.
all right. I can't see. Oh, it's behind my head. That's why.
That's why.
But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's our Wednesday show. 2 full fun hours of the Paranormal Portal. So
Non-stop.
Maybe we might stop. That's fully contingent upon my bladder.
And how much water we drink.
How much water we got? We got to take care of that. Otherwise, the portal would be a stinky mess.
Oh, God.
And but we are, I think we got a phenomenal show lined up for you, but I think that every day. And I hope I'm not wrong ever, but should be some entertaining things to go over tonight. We're winding our way closer to the Halloween, All Hallows Eve, which is
the thinning of the veil.
The veil is thinning, folks. It's getting thinner and thinner, and as such, be sure to wear your veil screen. I don't even know what I was thinking of, like sunlight,
Let that one roll.
Sorry. I'll just let that die a slow, painful death. No, but I mean, it's getting closer to Halloween. This is a really cool time of the year. As Don mentioned, many people believe the veil's getting thinner, and as such, I think it is too. I always feel like there's a real cool energy around this time of year. And if, for those of you that are sensitive out there, you might know what I mean, and it might just be me. I might just be imagining it, but I always feel like there's a really cool energy around this time of year. And there's some beliefs that say that the thinning of the veil actually gets thinnest by Christmas. I've heard that. I don't know what's true, but in the traditions of Samhain and the solstice, this is supposed to be the thinnest time. So, be careful. Be careful.
The only thing getting thinner around me is my hairline.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say something about your waistline, and you said your
I
hairline.
wish.
I know, right? I know. It's the wrong thing getting thin, Don. But
Yep.
we hope you guys are doing great. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us. We have 2 fun-filled hours ahead of us. But during that time, the phone lines will be open if you want to call in and be a part of the show. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got something paranormal of your own to share, we'd love to have you share it here on the show. Just call in to 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500.
And we will give you our 2 cents whether you want it or not.
Yep, and that'll be 4 cents combined.
Well, I don't know. I think I gave away my last 2 cents earlier. Like, here's a piece for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that could be. But we are winding up a fun-filled night on Halloween. We hope you'll join us for All Hallows Eve here on the show. We're going to be doing some paranormal quizzes and giveaways and stuff, so we hope you'll take part in that. And also, our very own Julia Blacktree is going to be here, and she's going to be doing a few quick tarot readings for people as well. But we'll go through all the normal hijinks and stuff, but we'll have the paranormal quiz show. And that's always fun. We have a great time doing it. And don't worry, but, we don't gear it so that people don't win. Just so you know, we like
That's
people
just
to
no
win.
fun.
Yeah, so we want to give the gear away. We want to give the portal stuff away. If you want to see some of the things we're going to be giving away, head over to teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal.
Yep.
All right, so that's the URL, and it's in the description of the show. So,
And if you can't wait to get some gear, always remember Spooky 20 until Halloween night, midnight.
gotcha. What
Get
fell?
you 20%. I don't know, something on the other side.
Oh, did you kick something?
I don't think so.
That
I
box?
may have.
Okay.
Yeah, something on the box probably.
Yeah, there's something that was
Oh,
sliding
yeah.
around. Yeah,
I see.
it'll be fine.
Yep. It'll survive.
It'll survive. So yeah, we're gonna be giving away stuff on that you can find on that page, and so we hope you'll take part of that with us.
We already have a phone call.
Wow. Well, why don't we just get to that then?
Here we go.
But before we get to the phone call, I hope you all are ready because it's time for the show. Did somebody say a phone call?
A phone call. We got a call on the line.
We got a call on the line. All right, let's see who's on the horn. And this is area code 254. You're on the air.
Hey, Brian, it's Kathy.
Hi,
Hi,
Kathy.
Kathy.
Welcome to the show. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, this is just kind of a leftover from Sunday night.
Okay.
There was a guy that called in. He had a lot of interesting experiences.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about the soldier Ephraim Anderson.
Yes. Yep.
That he'd seen an orb or something in his backyard, and
Right.
then people had found a grave under a stone where a church used to sit,
Yeah, under the stairs.
and they had to relocate it.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
right. Mhm.
Well, a lot of people, they had said that they had seen a figure of a soldier and, a ghostly apparition or whatever.
Right.
But the reason I called in was because I wanted to let you know, and some people aren't aware of this, but whenever a church is emptied or torn down or anything like that, usually there's a sacrament where you go in the church and you desanctify it.
Oh.
And so therefore it and everything around it is not considered sacred or holy anymore.
Oh.
So I was thinking that if this man's body was under this rock or whatever it was, they weren't aware that he was still there, but perhaps his spirit and his soul did not want to rest in a desanctified place that was not holy.
Sure. That's a good point. That's a great point. I had no idea. I've never even heard of that before, but it does stand to reason. That's very cool.
Right, because, you know, you see these little churches out in these little towns that, you know, they don't have a congregation anymore, you know, but they're closed up. Well, sometimes they're sold. And it's still a holy place until it's desanctified, and you cannot just allow a building that is a sacred holy place, anything and everything allowed to be performed in that structure, you know. So that's the sacrament of desanctification. And so therefore, you know, when you sell it, people move it onto another piece of land and restore it and make a home out of it or something like that, then it is just a building. It's not a holy place any longer. It's not a sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
So I just thought I would call in and, you know, I thought that might be a possibility for Lieutenant Anderson.
Yeah. That's a really great idea and a great thought. I mean, because you got to wonder, why is the spirit so restless? Why is it like that? And the thought was that he knew his family was looking for him and maybe was trying to give a clue. But, you know, you're right. If that ground was desanctified, that's no longer holy ground. And it, maybe you're right. His spirit was not at rest because he was not in a proper place for himself. Wow. That's a great insight. Thank you so much for that.
He was supposed to be under the steps. You know, he was supposed to be under the steps. He wasn't out in the cemetery or anything. And
right.
So, anyways.
Wow. Thank you so much for those thoughts. That was brilliant.
I'll let y'all go.
Thank you so much for that. That was really great. I learned a lot. Thank you. I mean, sincerely.
Okay. Okay, you're welcome.
All right, Kathy. We love you. Have a great night. See ya. That's very cool. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Don?
I did not know that. I didn't know there was actually a ceremony to desanctify a place. So that's interesting.
That's really wild. But it makes sense. And I've often wondered that. I was like, God, maybe that's the ticket is to buy an old church because, you know, it should be a holy place, should be a safe place. But I had no idea that they desanctified them. Yeah. It's like, nope, it's not a church anymore. And then all the things that were circling it for all these hundreds of years are all pissed, and they probably run in and have a house party. You know?
We can finally get in here. Finally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes you wonder. Anyway, but yeah, that's pretty wild.
Well, what is, you know? It's like while Kathy was talking, I was like, what do they invite Satan in? What do they do? You know. You know, they probably just give thanks to the well, I was going to say the land, but that would be the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
You know, I would imagine like thanks to God for allowing this to have this area and you know, please watch over it, but we're getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, we're moving. We got a bigger facility. Yeah, and don't worry about this place anymore. Follow us to the new place.
Yeah, follow us. Always follow us. Anywhere we go, follow us.
Yeah, and that's true for the portal too, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd take that and run with it.
There you go.
But no, that's really cool. That's an interesting thing, and that's, you know, I've often wondered about that when I was thinking about these haunted places like old abbeys and nunneries and stuff, and it's like, well, how come they're haunted?
Right.
You know, this is supposed to be hallowed ground, sacred land, and sacred buildings. But if they're desanctified, then
they ain't holy no more.
They don't have that umbrella that they did. So that's pretty powerful stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kathy, for bringing that to the show. That's one of those things I keep talking on the show, that your guys' involvement just really dots the I's and crosses the T's for me in so many ways, and that's a great example.
Well, you know, we learn from you guys. It's amazing. You know, Lady Death, she's in the chat.
Oh,
remember
hey,
learning about coffin birth?
I don't.
That was disturbing.
I don't think I do.
You don't?
I don't think I want to, is what it was. I seem to have a mental block going on here. I seem to have something blocking my mental.
That's okay. You know, the visual keeps coming clean for me. I'm like, oh boy. Bloop. Oh man,
Yeah.
we learned so much from you guys. It's amazing.
Go ahead and just recap it just for everybody
Well,
that's
so
wondering.
coffin birth, like during these storms and these tornadoes and things, and the water's seeping into the ground, and sometimes it doesn't perk out like it's supposed to, and I guess what happens, and Lady Death can clarify that on if she'd like, but what happens is some of these coffins start to move up. The water pushes them up, and the bodies pop out of them.
Coffin birth.
Coffin birth. Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
We got triplets. Oh my
Titan
God.
says we're supposed to bestow Lady Death her powers back.
Oh, well, if we need more mods, I'll be sure to get her. But right now, I think we're sitting pretty good.
Well, that's
We'll get to it. Eventually, she'll be definitely on the top of the list. For sure. All right, so we got lots of stuff to go through.
yeah.
Let's get going through them.
What you got for us, Brent?
Well,
On this beautiful hump day eve.
it is. Let's see, what do I got? First, I wanted to go to this. Some of the current events from the news pages. I like this site, unexplained-mysteries.com. They do a great job putting together these quick little blurbs and articles.
That's right. Never mind.
What?
I totally screwed that story up. Lady Death just corrected me. Coffin birth is when a woman is pregnant.
That's what I was thinking it was. Okay.
And she dies with the baby, and the baby pops out in the coffin.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
That is way more horrible. That's
So
way
I
more
remembered really badly on that one.
horrible. Yeah. See, you had a mental block too.
I did, yeah. There you go. So that's even grosser.
Yeah. So there
Thank
you
you,
go,
Lady
ladies and
Death, for
gentlemen.
reminding me I was wrong.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, here's an article I found, ladies and gentlemen, and I guess some people really like how they're having their theaters haunted.
Oh, jeez.
But this is an article. Let me move this stuff out of the way.
Let's go above and beyond weird.
Yeah, since we're already on weird, we kind of started already, so might as well continue our journey into weird. And this is what we're going. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com, ladies and gentlemen. Theater wants you to become its resident ghost. I didn't know it was such a
Come
hot
on in,
commodity.
we'll murder you on stage. Break a leg, buddy.
Break a neck. Historical Theater in Canada is offering one fan the opportunity to haunt the building after they pass on. Just one, though, ladies and gentlemen.
That's all we need, just one.
Having first opened all the way back in 1918, the Regent Theater in Prince Edward County, Ontario, has long proven a popular venue for plays, concerts, and movies over the last 100 years. One thing it lacks that other theaters have, however, is a resident ghost. Apparently, they don't know it's already haunted. Now, in a renewed effort to raise money during the pandemic, theater officials... Why don't they just have a bake sale or something? Theater officials are offering visitors the opportunity to actually become the building's notorious spook by way of $25 tickets, with the winning entry being given the chance to haunt the place after they've passed on.
How do they do that? How do you do that? We bestow on you the ability to,
You may not know it, ladies. It might not look it, but I will be haunting that theater. It's like a pickup line. I'm going to be a ghost in that theater.
Yep.
That's going to be my place. If you're,
So what are you famous for? Being that ghost when I'm done.
I'm not famous yet, but I'm going to be. See, I'm going to be haunting that theater there. All the grand old theaters in the world, in London and New York and in Toronto, they have a ghost stories attached to them, said Chair Ben Thornton of the Regent Theater Foundation Board. Phantoms haunt the stages and the dressing rooms and scare the audience, so we thought, well, why not here? It's like a piece of furniture, for
Why
God's
not?
sakes.
Yeah, come on in. We'll install you. You'll have a ceremony and everything.
Applicants don't need to be major fans of the theater, but it would certainly help. So, someone to practice their moans and groans, said Thornton. We don't want to scare the pants off of anybody, but a little bit of a jump in the dark theater, why not? The winning entry will be announced on Halloween.
Go figure.
Yeah, I got to give him credit. That's a pretty unique fundraiser. Who would have thunk that? Right?
Who'd have thunk?
Who'd have thunk, ladies and gentlemen?
I wonder if we should send in $50. You and I are 25 each, and see what we can do.
want to haunt it alone, Don. Only with you.
Well, we got friends over there, bombers in that area.
That's
so,
right.
She can come visit us.
Yeah, but it would only be one of us. Only one person's getting the win, Don.
Well, then I guess the old saying, you'll go before I do. It'll be a race to the finish for us.
If I get there first, I'll save you a seat.
That's like yeah. If you come across the bear in the woods and you're with your buddy and you got your gun. No, in this case, nah, I'll lose.
Oh man, yeah, but that's kind of interesting. I've never heard of a theater trying to be haunted.
Wow.
I would be surprised if there was an area anywhere that doesn't have a spiritual presence, unless they've used black sand. But that's a whole different thing.
What, black sand? What's that got to do with anything?
Black sand is a special kind of anointing you can do to any room or location, and the idea is that once it's been administered, no spirits ever can come into that space, ever.
Really?
Yep. So it's some pretty apparently potent stuff.
Wow.
But I mean that means even the good ones can't come in. None of them. Nothing is the claim. So.
Huh.
And it's not just normal black sand. It's obviously been worked on and
Worked on.
spiked.
It's been worked black sand.
Yeah. Let's see. There was another. Oh, I didn't know this. This is more kind of curiosity. I'm not sure it's paranormal, but it is interesting, and I'm going to read it to you guys because I wouldn't have thought this in a million years. But it says apparently, ladies and gentlemen, according to this article,
Here we
water. There is water on the moon. Scientists confirm, which I guess is good if we ever head up there and build. There's been proposals to build like resorts up there, Don.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so if they already got water there, that would help a ton. But today's discovery about the moon has turned out to be an absolute confirmation of the presence of water, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, we reported that NASA was about to announce an exciting discovery based on data from the Stratospheric Observatory for Infrared Astronomy, another big long acronym, SOFIA for short. This discovery has since been revealed to be an equivocal confirmation of water on the moon, and quite a lot of it too.
So this what is it? This discovery-based data from the Stratospheric Observatory of Infrared Astronomy, SOFIA, like the AI.
Yeah, apparently. Yep, the same name.
Oh, whatever.
Until the 1990s, the surface of the moon was thought to be bone dry, but since then, hints of ice have been found, suggesting that our lunar neighbor may actually be a lot wetter than scientists realized. Now, at last, by measuring the wavelengths of sunlight reflecting off the lunar surface, scientists have been able to confirm once and for all that there definitely is water on the moon. It was identified in the high latitude regions of the moon's south pole and in abundances of 100 to 400 parts per million.
Wow.
Which planetary scientist Mahesh Anand has described as quite a lot. Okay. It is about as much as is dissolved in the lava flowing out of the Earth's mid-ocean ridges, which could be harvested to make liquid water under the right temperature and pressure conditions, he said. The discovery is encouraging as it means that future manned missions to the moon could potentially utilize this valuable resource to produce oxygen, fuel, and drinkable water. Wow. Exactly how difficult it will be to extract and process it still remains a bit of a mystery, as it is not clear if the water is dissolved within lunar glass or stored in tiny ice crystals in the lunar soil.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. It's also not clear how far down the water extends. With billions of potential water reservoirs scattered over the polar regions, the focus should be shifted away from the handful of well-known large craters and towards the multitude of potential landing sites our study reveals, said Paul Hain of the University of Colorado, Boulder. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's water on the moon. Whoa, and there's sound. Yep, there's sound. I just thought we'd look at the video since they went to the trouble of, well, it's just going to recap what we just read. So there you have it. I guess, some of those resorts and stuff could be in a good position to utilize the resources available.
There you go.
That's one less thing they got to bring there. That's kind of nice.
So do you think the water is formed by the air vents from the underground base?
It's probably condensation from all the respiration of the millions of aliens under there.
Yeah. The 80 different residents, 80 different races. Of...
Yeah, it's like a whole like mega structure. It's like a Death Star up there. Turns out it's urine.
And you thought the Sea of Tranquility was just a sea.
Yeah. See what you think of this.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting though. I mean, because who would have thought it? There's no atmosphere, so you wouldn't think it would be there. But I guess if it's crystallized, that's
Right. Yeah. Huh.
wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So apparently there's a little quick blurb here. NASA wants to hear your conspiracy theories. The space agency is producing a special Halloween video in which it will debunk user-submitted conspiracies. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. I'm sure on nasa.org you can submit your
The Department
conspiracies.
of the Conspiracy Theories.
Wow. Oh, that's weird.
Oh no.
Oh my God, this is funny. This was such a non-event. It's hilarious, but we're gonna talk about it anyway because they managed to write a whole article about it.
Yep.
It's about, ladies and gentlemen, remembering Storm Area 51 1 year on. Well, I don't know what you got to remember except
A bunch of people standing outside.
about
What's
1,000
going on,
people.
man?
1,000 people sitting around a bunch of porta potties going, "What should we do?"
Hey man, you got that Labrador? Did you bring the Labrador?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, I got the Labrador, man. It's good. But yeah, that's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. It's apparently an anniversary of sorts, although it was kind of a non-event, wasn't it?
Yeah.
12 months ago, what started out as a tongue-in-cheek Facebook post became a social media phenomenon. Back on September 20th, 2019, somewhere around 2,000 people descended on the small town of Rachel. That's not a million. Nevada for one of the strangest festivals ever, an event that music and festivities aside, intended to lift the lid on the secrets kept at Area 51 by sending so many people through the gates that the U.S. military would have been unable to stop everyone. Mm-hmm. Have they not seen carpet bombing? I'm just... That's...
Well, I'm sorry. When the Air Force looks at you and says, "Please don't. We don't want to kill you," come on.
The original attendance figures had been set to be much, much higher, to the tune of more than 2 million, as evidenced by the number of people who had registered their interest on Facebook.
I did.
The entire thing started out when Maddie Roberts, a student in California, posted up an event entitled Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. He could have never predicted just how much attention the whole thing would get, nor the fact that it would actually take place, albeit without his involvement and having later been renamed Alien Stock. See, well, that's what I thought would happen. Yeah. I posted it on June 27th, and it was kind of a joke, he said at the time. And then it waited for like 3 days, it's like 40 people, and then it just completely took off out of nowhere. It's pretty wild. The phenomenon brought with it a major headache for local businesses, which, being small establishments, had no way to deal with the potential for a mass influx of people. Yeah, there's nothing like going to a festival where you're walking through human waste. In the end, however, those that did show up were relatively few in number, and proposed storming the base itself fizzled out, with barely a handful of people actually showing up at the gate. And as for the town itself, legal issues and disagreements sparked by the event and its aftermath have continued to damage local businesses and to divide the community, even to this day.
Wow.
Our town, that was a very peaceful and quiet place and friendly place, has changed, said Rachel resident Jorg Arnu. At this point, a year after the event, I don't know if it will ever mend, if it will ever go back to how it once was.
See, that's what happens when you do something dumb.
Yeah, there you go.
You split the little town of Roswell, or actually Rachel, yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting though. I don't know. It was just it was such a silly thing that I'm surprised. So many people really took it seriously, like, yeah, I'd do it.
You see all those stupid beams that came out. My bay after I storm Area 51. Oh my good God.
Yeah. Well, you even got that T-shirt, right?
I do have a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me. I haven't seen them in a while.
Oh.
I don't know where the heck they went.
I wore them home last time. No, I'm just kidding. Here's a scary thing. It does turn out that the first murder hornet nest was found in the U.S., ladies and gentlemen, on the 24th of October. This is dated, so it's pretty recent. A nest of enormous invasive wasp-like insects has reportedly been discovered for the first time on U.S. soil. And if there's one nest, there's a lot of nests. More commonly known as the Asian giant hornet, these enormous insects have already proven a problematic invasive species in Europe, and now they're threatening to invade the U.S. as well. Measuring 1.8 inches long and with venomous stinger, a quarter of an inch in length. God, a quarter inch? Oh, that would hurt. The Asian giant hornet can actually prove lethal to humans and is responsible for up to 50 deaths a year in Japan.
Wow.
In addition, these predatory insects are known to attack honeybees, which, unlike their Japanese counterparts, have no innate defense against them. As a result, even a small number of hornets can totally devastate an entire honeybee colony. Now, a recent report out of Washington State has revealed that a nest of these unsettling insects has been found in Blaine, a city near the Canadian border to the north of Seattle. Wildlife authorities had been searching for the nest for weeks, and they finally managed to determine its location by attaching a tracking device to one of the hornets after it was caught in a trap by a worker at Washington State Agricultural Department. The nest itself was located inside a tree on private property. It is still remains unclear exactly how the species, with its typically found in China and Japan, Thailand, and other eastern countries, actually managed to make its way to the United States. The race is now on to eliminate the insects before they manage to gain a strong foothold. Footage of the nest can be viewed below.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess we could show it, right? Well, at least a clip of it.
I say yay.
Yeah, let's have a look. It's 15 minutes long, though, so let's just see if that's a lot of... Oh, this is the actual tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming in. Now, I wish there was something there to really gauge the size.
Yeah, there's really no sound, so... that's apparently where they lived, right in there. Wow. That's totally scary. Wow. I don't know. Well, I hope they find them. There's one of those big... Wow, look at that thing. It's huge.
Huh.
That's spooky. That's just terrible. You know, and the bad part is that there's nothing here that is geared towards predating these things because they're not from here.
Right.
It's kind of like those Asian carp.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they talk about Bigfoot and samurai chatter. Maybe they've got some kind of way to.
Yeah,
maybe it's a delicacy to them.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be.
Who knows?
Well, could be, ladies and gentlemen. But the bad news is that they actually found a nest, which means they are here in some kind of regard.
Apparently so.
Then they're established. So be careful.
Thank God they're only in Washington. They can keep them.
Okay, well, we already read about that. Just one more that I wanted to make sure to catch before we moved on. All right.
Oh, goodness. Pardon me.
That's another stone formation. I didn't see this one before the show, but let's look at it. So it's, again, the megalithic kind of sites, kind of like we saw in Coloma. I think that that could very well be a megalithic site or a dolmen of sorts. A dolmen. But there was apparently one found in the Great Lakes region. I guess we're going to read this quick, and then I got to get to some of these other stories that I had pulled up. We're going to go through a couple articles by Brent Swanser tonight, which is awesome. And the guy is just, guy's an incredible talent, and he did a whole article on a story that we covered a blurb of.
Yeah. We
could only find a little blurb of it.
Right.
But he covered, did a whole story on it. I'm excited to read it. I haven't read it before the show because, all I had before to go on was this little small paragraph of a mention. And he managed to uncover a whole lot more. So we're going to go through that, and I'm excited to do that with you guys. So here's a mystery stone formation found in the Great Lakes. A team of researchers has discovered a mysterious stone formation beneath the Straits of Mackinac. That's, my family is in Michigan, and they always said it was Mackinac, even though it looks like Mackinac. Known as Search Inc., the group, which is mostly made up of Native American tribal citizens, had been using a remote-operated underwater vehicle to carry out cultural assessment of oil and gas pipelines on the lake bed when they came across what appeared to be an artificial stone formation. The find could have considerable significance, especially given that the last time this region was not completely underwater was likely 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age.
Wow.
We did not expect to find this. It's just really amazing. Said group member Andrea Pierce, my question is, who knew they were there? It's certainly not the first time something like this has been found in the region. Back in 2009, the University of Michigan discovered similar formations in Lake Huron near Alpena. The latest find has sparked some degree of controversy, especially given that if the discovery does turn out to be significant, it could halt further underwater infrastructure development in the area. Previous surveys of the region had also failed to find any sign of artificial formations. I'll bet they did. That's not something they want to find, right, Don?
No, not really.
Well, because I mean, if there is a location that has archaeological significance,
they'll never be able to do anything with it.
Yeah, they'll never be able to drill there.
Yeah,
and so I'll
exactly.
bet you they're not finding stuff. So it's kind of interesting that this.
What do you mean? We found it? What's a dolmen? What does that mean? We don't know. We were drilling.
It wasn't in the brochure.
Listen, let's just get fracking over it.
Sink the pipes. Let's go. They can study it later. No, I'm just kidding. Not that I have anything against any of that stuff. I don't know enough to have a real valid opinion, but suffice it to say that it's a pretty established practice now, and they're obviously looking everywhere for new deposits of frackable ground. So the previous surveys of the region had also failed to find any significant formations. Side-scan sonar imagery was used to map the lake bed, and we found no submerged cultural resources in the area that was assessed, said Enbridge spokesman Ryan Duffy. We've not seen the report from the organization suggesting they had discovered significant features, and we do not know if they assessed the same areas we did. We would welcome the opportunity to meet and talk with this group and write checks. Efforts to confirm the discovery will likely be at the forefront of efforts over the next few months. If the formations do turn out to be man-made, they could be a very important discovery indeed.
I wonder what oil company's paying for that.
They're being. There's an Exxon or a Shell or something on top of that
BP,
pile.
yeah.
BP. So, and you know what? They want to meet with them because they obviously want to do some drilling in there,
Right.
and they're going to want to maybe bring in their own scientists to say that those are not man-made. It is. That's what's going on, dude. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. Paranormal Portal opinion is that it might be very well man-made, but it may not become considered that way for long. Yeah, I don't know.
There you go.
All right.
It must be OG night tonight.
OG.
Yeah, because Lady Death is here and Hacker's here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely.
Great to see you guys, both of you. I love that these old friends are coming back.
Yeah.
We've missed you guys.
Yep, we have.
And we're excited for you to meet our new friends and family that are here because it's just been going crazy. We are just so fortunate to have so many amazing people attached to the show. So thank you all, old friends and new. And group hug. Bring it in.
How you doing, love to all?
Lots of love. Okay, so I'm going to get into some of these articles now. There's more that I wanted to read, but I'll come back to this if we have time later.
Brad, I see you.
What?
But you've been with us fairly solidly. Hacker and Lady D, they kind of come and go every now and then.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yep.
I've been informed. There's a phone call.
There's a phone call. We must answer the phone. We must. We must answer the phone.
I love how our chat informs me we got phone calls. So
I love who informed you.
Yeah. Could it be the caller?
The
All
cola.
right. Let's see who's on the horn here. I suspect, but it's 845. You're on the air.
You know who that is.
I know.
Who could it be now?
How you doing, Carlton? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for calling in. No static tonight.
Good.
No static
Good to
tonight.
see you guys too.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're doing good. So what's on your mind?
Yeah. I just had to make a comment on fracking. You triggered my
Uh-oh.
my ecology.
I pushed
brain.
that button, didn't I?
You fracking triggered him, Don.
What the frack am I supposed to do?
It's driving me fracking crazy. I had to call.
All right. What's on your fracking mind, buddy?
Well, so what they do when they frack is they drill a well into the ground and into the rock, and they send extreme pressure down in there to fracture all that rock.
Yeah.
And that's basically how they open access to all that, contained oil and reserve, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem that happens with that is in fracking all that rock, you're disturbing all the bedrock that separates the oil, the soil, and the water. And those aquifers under there are really, really critical for ongoing sustainable farming, water supply for drinking, all that kind of stuff. And those are a huge part of the planetary water cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start disrupting those, you really screw things up.
Yeah.
That's just on a water level. Now, I've got a friend who's a breeder out in Oklahoma, and the number of earthquakes went from, I forget what the original was, it might have been 10 or 20 a week or a year or something. It went up to thousands.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as they started this whole massive fracking operation.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's turned into a bunch of lawsuits and that sort of thing. But, I don't think it's too hard to draw a conclusion if you don't have too many earthquakes, and then you start doing something to the geology underneath the land, and all of a sudden you have thousands of earthquakes.
Yeah.
This isn't rocket surgery here, is it?
No. I used to look at the USGS earthquake site all the time, and I still do from time to time. But I was always amazed with the Oklahoma and I think they might filter them now, but at the time when I was looking at them, there'd be all these dots all over Oklahoma. It was just hundreds of these earthquake dots, and it's like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely they're definitely leaving a footprint.
Yeah, they really are. And interesting on the aquifer also, I had a guest on last night on my show on TFR, Comrades and Farms. Brad is a breeder in southeast Nebraska. He's an organic, regenerative agricultural seed breeder, and he talked about how his family is part of helping maintain and regulate and keep the aquifer underneath their land, the Ogala Aquifer, clean and safe, and to help maintain that aquifer so it doesn't get pumped down too far. Mm-hmm. They actually go as far as shutting off farmers in a drought season. If they're pumping too much water, they'll shut them off.
Wow.
So interesting that there is, an evolving understanding of that, and that, we're starting to protect them more and recognize their value more. Anyway, I just had to throw my 2 cents in on it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now we got 2 cents again, Don.
Yeah, well, there you go.
That was fracking amazing, dude. Thanks for calling in. It's always a pleasure hearing from you.
Sounds good. Always a pleasure talking to you guys. And listen to you guys. I'll be listening.
All right, buddy.
Take care, Carlton. We'll see you.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. And you really have to ask yourself, what the hell's going on with all these new natural disasters that are happening? The hurricanes, the tornadoes, and the disturbance of all these weather conditions, and the earthquakes, as Carlton mentioned. And you really got to look at what we're doing to the planet, and just really, we've talked about this before. It's just not good stuff. And so, there's going to be a purge, I'm sure. A third ice age, shall we say?
Well, maybe. It feels like it's already started.
Well, I'm waiting for the crust to slip again, and the North Pole becomes South Pole again, and maybe we'll find Atlantis at that point.
That's true. I don't know what we'll find. We'll probably find a lot of problems, I'm betting. But no, I don't doubt that. No, I do believe that everything has a biorhythm, including the Earth, and certainly the Earth always has cycles and seasons. Yep. And I'm not just talking about the annual seasons. I'm talking about I believe the Earth is alive, and so like anything, it just has a biorhythm, and certainly there are times of upheaval and there are times of settle, and and everything in between.
You're starting to sound like a song from the hippies era.
I think they were right. I do think they're right. I think that the Earth is definitely it's a macroorganism, and I mean, even when the first astronauts went up into space, I mean, they were up there, and their remark was, "It is alive."
Right.
They could see that from up there, and granted, maybe it's a romantic notion, but I think there's also a spirit to everything, and I think our world is no different. There's a spirit to our world. People call it Gaia or Mother Nature or whatever, but there's a sentience to it, and so
that's true.
I just don't think I think that yes, there's no doubt that people have had adverse impacts on our Earth. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
But I think that it goes two ways. I think some of it could be natural cycle, just in the biorhythm,
Right.
and certainly we're exacerbating it
Right.
with our activities and our neglect. And I hope that we can come to understand all of that and find a balance, because we don't have a balance with nature anymore.
Well, it's amazing, because really, honestly, what oil is, what crude oil is that we pump out of the ground, it's literally the grease of the world, of the earth.
Oh, sure.
And it's literally the grease. And if we're taking, if your wheel bearings go bad because they're not greased, that's what happens. Stuff happens, and so just kind of think of it that way. It's a well-oiled machine until it's not oiled anymore.
Then it's not. Then it's a rough machine. Yep. So, next thing up, ladies and gentlemen, it's an article from our good friend, Mr. Brent Swanser.
Let's get to the good stuff.
Well, this is all good, Don.
Well, let's get to the really good
Okay,
stuff.
I'll give you that. If you're not familiar with Brent Swanser, he's basically, I call him a paranormal journalist. This guy is really the top of the pile for me. I mean, and I like a lot of paranormal journalists, but he writes for mysteriousuniverse.org, and his works are published many places, but that's one of his main places. And he's online as well, but he just does such an amazing job. And I love reading his work, and we've become friends on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's really
that's
awesome.
He's been posting to the Paranormal Portal fan page.
Yeah, and by the way, ladies and
left
gentlemen,
and right.
yes, there is a Paranormal Portal fans page. If you want to become involved with that, that'd be great. We'd love to see you there. That's something Cha-Cha set up for
just
us,
be aware, Cha-Cha runs it.
which is awesome. She does a great job.
She does.
She's always posting material there and stuff. So definitely get involved over there. We'd love to see you over there. And it's also a site that's, when I made the Paranormal Portal radio page, I did it kind of wrong, and so when you guys comment, it goes into a different section. Mm-hmm. And I always hated that, and I've tried to fix it, but I don't know how. But the fans page, if you guys post it, it'll be right there on the main page, just like it's supposed to be on the Paranormal Portal radio page.
Right.
But, so, we can have discussions. You can drop links. If you find something cool out there, drop it on the fans page and let us know. So if you need an invite, let somebody know. I can invite you as well. And so can you, Don, and everybody.
Yeah.
But let us know
if I ever get on Facebook again.
Yeah. Otherwise, just
so
look
absent.
for Paranormal Portal fans, and you'll find the site. So, but anyway, he's been involved on the Paranormal Portal fans site, posting his articles. So it's a great place to go check it out, or you can check out his Facebook page, Brent Swanser, and get involved in his stuff. But he's a great guy. So this is an article he wrote about a UFO incident in Malaysia. And again, this is something that back in the day, a couple of years ago or so,
Yep.
several years ago, we found just a list of some weird UFO stuff. And it was this one posting in that list about this Malaysia story, but it was only like a paragraph. So I'm really excited to see what he's put together on this article, because this story just absolutely amazed me. I was like, oh my God.
And we've laughed about it.
So
We've laughed about it many times. Now we get the in-depth from Brent Swanson.
Yes, exactly. And he always does a great job with all the background and stuff. So this is the weird invasion of miniature aliens in Malaysia. And let's see what it says. It says, there's been UFO and alien encounters of all types over the years, from beings in craft of all shapes and sizes. But every once in a while, there will be a spate of encounters and sightings that truly stick out as something truly odd. Whether it is because of some bizarre details or behavior, these cases certainly manage to lodge themselves firmly into the weirdest of the weird. One such series of events apparently happened in the country of Malaysia in the 1970s and 80s, and involves an intense wave of grumpy action figure. He said action figure.
He said grumpy.
Action figure-sized aliens and their tiny toy-like spaceships. So, in the story is actually pretty hilarious. But what seems to have been an investigation of sorts carried out by aliens of a very diminutive proportions began in the summer of 1970 in the city of Johor Bahru in the country of Malaysia. On this day, 4 young schoolboys were out in the playground when they spied a silver disc-like object around the size of a dinner plate land and disgorge a group of 5 tiny humanoid beings, which each stood only around 5 inches in height and were dressed in some sort of reddish one-piece outfits. As the kids looked on in astonishment, the minuscule little men reportedly crawled down a hole, and the miniature craft they had ridden in just sort of vanished into thin air. When the boys went to investigate, they say they found a small burnt patch of grass, but nothing more. The school kids excitedly told their headmaster about the strange encounter, and soon more reports would emerge of similar creatures in the area. There's an image of somebody holding a little. Isn't that from like They Live or no? Batteries not included.
Oh, that's it. Yep.
On August 9th, 1970, a miniature UFO was seen by school kids to land just outside the playground of the Stowell Primary School in Bukit Metajam, Palau, Penang, Malaysia. After which a door opened and the gangplank of some sorts extended out of it. There was seen a procession of little 3-inch tall humanoids with little antennae protruding from their heads and dressed in blue suits, with one of them in bright yellow. These tiny humanoids marched down the plank and mostly ignored these gawking kids as they went about building some sort of antenna-like device, until one of the boys tried to catch one of them. At that instance, the one in the yellow suit, possibly their leader, reportedly drew out a weapon of some kind and shot the boy in the hand with a laser beam, after which the kids recoiled away and told their teachers to come and see it for themselves. However, the craft was gone when they arrived, with no sign of what had just happened. Later that same day, a little UFO was seen again by one of the school children, and yet again, one of the humanoids shot at him, this time causing him to black out. When he was found lying in the bushes, the UFO was gone, but there was a mysterious red welt on his hand where he claimed the mini laser gun had hit him. They wanted vengeance. They came back after him. Try to pick me up, did you? After these initial reports, many of the children in the area began to report these small UFOs and their enigmatic occupants. Sorry, my eyes watering. The craft never more than a few feet in diameter, and the beings between 3 to 6 inches tall. There were also several other attempts to catch the entities, but they always either managed to escape or shot their attackers with their weapons, some leaving cuts or burn marks upon the skin, including a cut incurred by the son of a local police chief. Reports like this went on throughout the summer of 1970, after which the miniature aliens seemed to have gone away. However, this wasn't meant to last. The year 1973 would see a resurgence of the cases of miniaturized UFOs and aliens in Malaysia, largely concentrated around schools. The first of these supposed happenings at a schoolyard in Gambang near Kuantan, where 2 schoolboys managed to catch a 3-inch tall humanoid. And on this occasion, a teacher would come over and see the little man for himself.
Wow.
Before it managed to squirm out of captivity and run off. Not long after this, kids playing football at a playground at Bukit Metajam saw a silvery craft only 2 feet across land near the field, which was enough for the kids to stop their game and go take a look. This seems to be something the tiny aliens did not appreciate, as they promptly fired on the boys with bright beams of light to send them scattering before flying away in their craft. Later that same year, another of these little UFOs would be seen at a field in Ipoh, and at this time it would be seen by some of the teachers as well as it flew off. There was also a sighting in Miri, Sarawak, in which the witnesses, again schoolboys, saw a 6-inch tall little man in a white spacesuit trying to cut a fence with some sort of welding instrument. As soon as the little alien knew it was being watched, it ran off and was lost in the brush. Interestingly, there would be many other sightings of these creatures in white suits by both locals and some people on vacation as well. As a group of the entities was supposedly seen walking along a resort beach in the area of Miri. Wow. After this, the sightings would trail off until mini UFOs hit the news again in 1976. In an article for Flying Saucer Review, Volume 26, Number 5, January of 1981, UFO researcher Ahmad Jamaluddin would report that there had been a spectacular sighting of one of the tiny humanoids at the Royal Malaysian Air Force Base, just outside of the town of Kuantan, Malaysia. The first sighting was made by a 9-year-old witness who saw the creature drinking water from a drain on the base. He said of its appearance, it had 2 feelers on the head and held a steel-like rod in its hand. A pistol was hanging from its waist. It was brown in color, and it looked like a man. The boy said that it went back later that evening with two of his friends, and they all managed to see the same being. They then told the teacher about it, and he would oddly say of it, there was no sign of the creature in the area, but I saw a red Indian-like wigwam beautifully weaved out of grass. It was partially crushed. After this, things would go quiet again until 1979 when that was 81 though, wasn't it? Okay. When once again, sightings of these impish aliens would fire up once more, and it would seem that the aliens were getting a bit more aggressive than before. Yeah, they probably got sick of trying to be picked up all the time. Ooh, action figures. As in one report, a boy had his whole arm paralyzed by one of the creature's ray guns, and in another report, 3 boys and 2 adults claimed to have been blinded by a beam fired from one of the diminutive UFOs at a place called Kulim. Reports would then stop again, and the last official sighting of the miniature alien invaders allegedly happened in 1985, when a group of 7 6-inch tall humanoids was spotted by some school kids near a stack of wood at a school in Paka, Terengganu, showing that these kids had learned nothing from previous reports of the little entities firing weapons. One of the boys reached out towards one of the creatures and was promptly shot by a beam of light that made his hand very itchy. After this, the invasion of little people in Malaysia seemed to have subsided, leaving us with many questions. What were those creatures, and where did they come from? Why Malaysia, and why did they always seem to land at schools and appear to mostly children? Why were they so aggressive, and why did kids keep trying to catch them? Was it all a big ongoing prank or something more? It's very likely we'll never have the true answers to any of these questions and are left to wonder. That's really cool. I didn't realize there were so many more.
Yeah, I didn't realize there's so many either.
God, that's why I love this guy. He just,
Wow.
I mean, he goes deep on these things. I knew of the one, but this is a chain of events
Yes.
that happened throughout that decade, basically.
You know, and I really got odd when he said what was it, the flying saucer review, and he goes into the volume 26, number 5, January 1981. I'm
Yeah.
like, holy
Wow.
crap, this guy goes deep.
That's a deep dive right there,
That's
ladies and
awesome.
gentlemen. And that's the kind of quality you get from Mr. Swance's work. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And you can check out all his articles on mysteriousuniverse.org, which is a great site for so many other reasons as well. Not only Brent Swancer, but there's other fantastic articles and writers working there. So great article. Very cool. You know, what is it? What was it? The beginning of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Wasn't there a small little craft that was trying to invade, and they came and like a dog ate the whole thing, or it was like a whole armada coming in, and they
I don't remember.
maybe it wasn't that movie, but there's some movie that starts out with this. You see all these ominous looking huge craft descending on the earth, and they're just these amazing armada of ships coming in, and they come down, and then they get down to the ground, and you really don't have a scale until the
dog walks
yeah,
up?
until they like walk up to a dog, and the dog goes "Ow," and
Jeez.
eats the whole armada.
Oh,
you know,
God.
I think it was at the beginning of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy movie. You know, when they're talking about alien presence or whatever.
Oh,
You know, about historic.
I'm having a memory, but it's not very clear, so it's not surprising either, is
Is it
it?
like a movement, Don?
Titan says maybe Men in Black.
Maybe it was that. I don't know.
Is it
But
movement?
it's funny because
If
you know
I
we
hit one, I'd have a movement.
I had a movement earlier, Don. You should have been here. But I you know, there's nothing to say that there couldn't be all kinds of different sizes. You know, maybe there's lots of smaller ones even. You know, and some of these, maybe these small orbs that we see, maybe those are little craft going around.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Well, we go back to, something we've talked to people about, these 8-inch diameter or 1 foot diameter, orbs floating around, and the different colors mean different, codes, if you will,
Yes.
and so, it's possible. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
Later in the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through some BFRO reports again. I like going through those. Those are fun. And we'll do it in the last part of the show. What are we at for time right now? God, we're already in the second hour, Don.
already?
Yeah.
Jeez, I just looked at the clock and it said 7:37. I swear it.
It's 8:02 now, brother. It is flying. And,
Wow.
and it, this is our time zone. It's not 8:02 in all of yours, but it is here.
Yeah.
There's another article from Brent Swanser I wanted to bring to your guys' attention, and this is a topic I personally love, and I love all the paranormal, but I love the stories of the little people, and this one in particular I find very interesting because it's it's not necessarily the most I should probably hold it until the St. Patrick's Day time, but
That's a long time away.
it's a long time away, and this is also an article he just submitted. I mean, this guy's just a workhorse.
He's prolific.
He's so prolific and he's so good at it, But this, ladies and gentlemen, is again from mysteriousuniverse.org, and it's bizarre cases of real encounters with leprechauns. So, we're going to get into this. Now, obviously, anything like this, a lot of people are like, oh, come on. Just discard it. It's just whatever.
Right.
Oh, sure, there's leprechauns. Where's the gold?
Yeah.
I will tell you that the description of leprechaun is just a name.
Right.
Just like Bigfoot is just a name. It doesn't mean that that's the name for them, but it's reports of these little people have happened since the dawn of civilization.
Right.
So many cultures around the world, very disparate, uncommunicative with other cultures, are having legends of these little people. The Native Americans, obviously the Irish and the like Sweden, Norway, Germany, all around Asia, everywhere has reports of little diminutive figures.
Right.
And so it's kind of like the same thing as the Sasquatch. There's Yowies, there's Bigfoot, there's Yeren, there's Almas, Almasties, there's Bigfoot, there's Sasquatch, there's skunk apes, there's grassmen, and it's all of these. There's woodwos, woodewasas, and and on and on and on and on. But there's all these names for essentially, and I'm not saying that they're exactly alike, but they're essentially the same kind of thing. And so many, if not all of you listening, or at least a great portion of you, have no problem acknowledging that there are Bigfoot, and there are Bigfoot versions of Bigfoot all across the globe. And it's just part of your our enthusiasm for the subject, that we can accept that Yowies are there and Yeren are there in China.
Yep.
And there are Almas up in the Russia regions and in Asia. And there are Bigfoot here, Sasquatch, there are skunk apes, there are woodwolves over in Europe, and the list goes on and on. So with such a ready acknowledgement of that, is it such a stretch to think that there could be other kinds of beings
Right.
that maybe aren't the same descriptively, but they are as well diversely populated around the globe as well. And so it's worth consideration at the very least. Now, phone call? We got a phone call?
We got a phone call.
Well, let's get to the phone first, huh?
Yeah, let's do the phone call.
We always got to put the phones first. We'll come back to the article on the leprechauns, but let's see who the phone call is. This is area code 626. You are on the air.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
We can hear
Hi,
you.
it's Ruthie. How are you?
Ruthie,
Hi,
I'm
Ruthie.
so glad you called. You said you might. I'm glad you did. How you doing tonight?
Yeah. I'm doing really good. I'm cooking and listening to your stories.
Awesome.
I love it.
Well, great. What's for dinner?
Everything. Veggies, chicken, you name it.
Nice, nice. Very good. So tell me, what was...
We have we have a real bad lapse in the timing here. I can hear it.
Yeah, there's a lag. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully it'll clear up once I get the new internet connection on the 30th, which should be soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll try not to talk over you.
Okay.
I have a story. This happened when I was listening to your show on Sunday night.
Wow.
And by the time the show was over, I was still going through this weirdness.
Wow.
So I just wanted to share.
Please.
I've been doing tarot card readings for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one Sunday night. And talk about the veils getting thinner. Yes, they do thin out this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did a oracle reading, got up to use the girls' room, came back, and the cards had changed.
Oh.
And I sat down to study them again. I went, what? I go, who touched my cards? Nobody lives with me.
Oh, my God. That's intense.
I know. And so I got up to finish cooking, and I said, okay, cards, don't play tricks on me. Went back over to copy it down. The last card had changed.
Oh, my God.
And
Wow.
I know, I wish I was making this up, but it was too real and it was too strange. So they changed a third time after I had, went over to the bedroom and did something. So I texted a girlfriend in Vermont, and she says, oh, my God, Ruthie. She says, what did it say? And I said, well, the message was very clear what these oracle cards were saying.
Uh-huh.
And I guess there was more to the reading than what I had actually seen. So I was trying to figure out who had done it.
Right.
And I still don't know who had done it. Who done it?
That's really cool, though, because now do you think that was perhaps like a guide or some kind of spiritual protector or a guardian angel or something like that bringing you more information, or do you think it was just mischievous?
I think it was both. I picked up that it was maybe an ancestor of mine, but I also picked up that it was my Indian guide. I have a Native American Indian guide that loves to play jokes on me. I've been feeling him here this week. Mm-hmm. I've been packing because I'm moving. I remember Deb Varner told me I was going to be moving.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I'm not really sure where I'm going yet.
Oh, wow.
But that was one of the questions that I asked the oracle cards.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And were these changes relevant? I mean, were they relevant to what you were asking?
Oh, yeah. These oracle cards are so scary. They're so intense that you have to literally ground yourself a few times. Put protection around yourself. Ground yourself. Breathe. Do, prayers. And then you do the cards. They're no nonsense. They're more intense than a tarot card reading.
Okay.
I don't use these cards very often because they're really powerful. That's all I can say.
That is really, really cool. I mean, because you're basically getting direct communication in a manner of speaking. I mean, that's about as direct as you can get without like hearing a voice,
Yeah, definitely. So it could be anything, it could be my higher self. It could be my guides.
Sure.
It could be people I have lost because I'm beginning to become a medium, and it's kind of interesting. So it could have been anybody. I haven't really asked, but I kind of know who it was.
That's really great.
It's all good though. I just wanted to share that story with you because it just blew me away, and nothing scares me anymore, but it's just like, wow. Like,
yeah,
amazing.
That's a head scratcher, but that's a really cool story. And I really thank you for sharing it with us because I have never heard of that happening.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it stands to reason that it could happen. It seemed that, I've never heard somebody say that before. That's so cool.
Oh, that's never, ever happened to me before. So this is a first for me. So I'm going to add that to my stories that I'm writing.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's wonderful. And thank you so much for sharing it here. I love that. And thank you so much for being a part of our family.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, you guys. You entertain me and keep me sane.
Wow. The insanity keeps her sane.
Speaking of things we've never heard before.
That's probably how crazy I am.
That's another thing.
Oh, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Sure.
All right. Good night, Ruby.
Excellent. Wow. That's pretty cool, though,
Good night.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, so every time she came back to it, the card, at least a card had changed. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's powerful.
And it wasn't just that they changed; they changed with meaning.
Right.
So it was like, a 3-part answer, it's like, wow, that'd be kind of crazy.
That is,
Yeah.
it's almost like a Ouija board version of cards. It's like,
geez.
it's still giving you information
It's like-
all by itself, though. Wow.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's cool.
Wasn't Ruthie like one of the first ones to ever win a T-shirt from like way back when?
Was she?
Yeah, because we had like that. Oh, it was the 100th episode.
Oh.
Yeah, the
okay.
TFR
Well, that's
episode. I think that's right.
good memory.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I think that's Ruthie. So maybe she'll let me know because she won a T-shirt. I think.
That's cool. No, I didn't remember that.
Way back when.
You got a better memory than I do, I guess.
Well, not really.
Well, trust me, you probably do. I don't know. I guess I'm getting older, but it's like
Who was the other one? It was
you remember another one?
yeah, because we gave away T-shirts that night, or
Yeah.
T-shirts,
Mhm.
and one of it was the only one we ever did. It was like a yellow shirt with the Bigfoot on it with the silhouette inside. Who was that? Was that Ian Baker?
Oh, wow, yeah. Well, did we have to ship it abroad, overseas?
Oh no, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, because Ian's over across the pond.
yeah, he's in Scotland or Ireland. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember.
Wow.
But we'll be giving away more stuff on our Halloween episode, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're around and you want to be a part of that fun, it's going to be a Paranormal Portal quiz night. Not completely. It's not going to be the whole night, but it's going to be a portion of the night. We're going to do quizzes to callers. We're going to just put out a random caller number, blah blah blah, and whoever
We
fits that.
should do like a little animation when we do that. It's like Paranormal Portal, some kind of game show kind of thing. And,
Sure,
And get a wheel up there and spin it and have
I don't
it
know
like,
if I could whip
like
that out in
ghosts
time.
and spirits and Bigfoot and Yowie and you know what I'm saying? So
Don's going full Spielberg on this.
and then on the thing we spin the wheel and whatever category comes up gets the questions. That's the questions come from that particular.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how
You'll
much
have to
time
figure
you
that
have.
out. Yeah.
I don't know how much time you have, Don, but yeah, that would be a great idea for someday. I don't know. Maybe we can pull something together. We'll see, ladies and gentlemen. No promises, though. I don't know if I can get all that done anywhere near Halloween. Probably next Halloween.
Well, yeah, it was just kind of a cool idea,
Yeah.
It's like-
Well, I do want to do more giveaways and stuff because you guys have been so amazing to us and you've done so much to help us in so many ways. So it's the least we can do to give back. Jake can do that for you. I'll bet he could.
What Jake can do what?
I bet she means making us a wheel and sign and stuff.
Oh no, I just meant like something on the computer.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
just like
Jake has a wheel. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's right. Yeah, I remember him doing that.
I don't even
like,
think he could ship it in time to get here, though, if he could do it.
Like,
But that would be cool. That those kind of things would be fun to do for sure. So, but thank you for that call, Ruthie. That was great. We got another call.
another call.
Got another call.
Wow, today. Oh, this is Abe. Yeah, this is.
And
Yeah.
another call after that. So
Yeah.
this is area code 812. You're on the horn. You're on the show.
Hey, how you go? How's it going, guys?
Good.
Well,
Long
good.
time no hear from.
Yeah.
I got a couple quick stories for you.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my phone breaks up sometimes. We last weekend we went to this. I don't really want to give it away because it's a political thing, but
Oh, sure.
it's a gathering where you put flags on your truck and you drive around.
Okay.
And there was about 600 people there, and I was in the parking lot, and I was talking to some guys, and I was telling them about, I said, you guys do know that they have technology where they can control the weather.
Uh-huh.
And so I started explaining HARP to them and the different things, and this farmer walks up, and he owns a great big dairy farm in this area where we live at.
Okay.
And so I started telling him about, the HARP thing. And then I was telling him, I said, I've got about 180 pictures of a UFO. I sent you a picture of the UFO
Yep.
not too long ago.
Right.
And so I was telling him about it. And so then he starts telling me the story that it just happened to him here recently. Him and his sons were out harvesting late at night. And he said it was around 1:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he said these two objects come down out of the sky, right on their combines, shine lights right on them, circled around their combines,
Oh my God.
and then shot straight up in the air and zipped off. And then he said they kept coming back and diving in on them and shining lights into their cab and circling around them. And he said they got fed up with it, so they drove over and got into their vehicle. And he said they tried to chase them, but he said they finally just zipped off real fast.
Wow.
And he thought maybe they was some kind of a military drone or something like that. But I asked him, I said, what color were they? And he said the lights were so bright on them that they couldn't actually see the structure of the craft itself or whatever it was. So I thought you guys would find that interesting.
Yeah.
And it's not too far from where I live, and took the photograph of that UFO.
Wow. Is that a hot spot area? You got a lot of that stuff happening there?
I had another girl where I went to go get my hair cut. She actually showed me pictures of one that she had taken.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up north of here, but it was just basically lights at night. And at nighttime, when it's lights, I don't really put too much, faith in it being a UFO or whatever.
Okay.
Because it could be anything at night with lights, like an airplane or whatnot.
Sure.
But it was a bank. This thing had a bank of lights on it that she showed me, and she said it was real long. And she said it just like come across the field real quiet, and then just took off. So I don't know what that was. It could have been some kind of a drone.
Sure.
The farmer kind of thought maybe it might have been maybe military drones or something, but the way he was describing that it moved, I've never heard of a military drone that just comes down, swoops down on you, and then just hovers right over top of you, and then just zips off all of a sudden. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
And actually,
and then another story.
Hold on a sec.
Go ahead.
The other thing actually is that there would be hell to pay for any military personnel operating military craft right around civilians like that. Like that would be somebody's career and possibly some kind of prison sentence for misusing military craft that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the reason why he probably thinks it's a drone is because about 8 or 9 miles away from where we live, between me and him, there's an actual it's a air base, an air guard out there, and they run drones out of there.
Sure.
So but they're the type that have the propellers on them, the big white ones that you see. They look kind of like a glider, big white glider looking thing.
Right.
And I saw 3 of them running. They actually went over my house. They looked like they were tethered. You know how like they say they can tether with the Wi-Fi signal, so they stay exactly the same distance behind one another.
Yep.
And so these things were traveling from north to south over our house. But I figured they were just practicing. And then I just saw one about 2 weeks ago, but it was flying out through the circling the base over there. But you don't see them very often. I think they run them at night a lot. But
sure.
The characteristics that farmer was talking about was very aggressive, and it was he said that it'd come right straight down on them, and then he said it'd just shoot straight up in the air and then just zip off. And then he said here they'd come back and they'd dive in on them, and they'd shine lights on them and circle around them and then zip off again. So I thought you guys would like to hear that story.
Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. The problem though is that that particular, one type of that drone that's white with a propeller is called a Predator. And now those are not supposed to be legal. It's supposed to be federally illegal to be flying those inside U.S. airspace because they are used for bombing drones. So that's an interesting thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
That is intense.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty aggressive behavior from whatever these things are that were doing it. So I didn't get a chance. He was running farm equipment, so I don't know if he heard it or he could hear anything on it. He never said. Right. I wish I could have talked to him a little bit more. But after I started explaining the pictures that I had and telling him what I had seen, he got kind of disturbed about it, and he kind of took off through the crowd pretty quick.
Wow.
Like he didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, it just got a lot real.
I thought, man, that was so. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, it just got too real to him, I think, and he just needed to disengage.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I know where he lives at. I'd like to go and talk to him more about it if he would open up and talk about
Sure,
it.
yeah.
But I know who he is and where he's at now. So,
Yeah.
but that's not very far from me.
Wow.
It's pretty wild that people see different things here
Right.
all the time. Another story I had for you guys is one of the physicians that I work with kind of confides in me and talks to me about different paranormal things that they have had happen to them in the past. And she said that the last few weeks she's been waking up in the middle of the night around 1:30, 2 o'clock at night, and she'll see her deceased family in the mirror and people that she doesn't know, and they're holding a sign up. And one of the signs that they held up, it said something, congratulations, but she couldn't read the rest of it. So then the next night, they did the sign again, but it was like a ticker tape thing going across the bottom of the mirror. And she said she's fully awake when she sees it. And then one of the nights that she saw this in the mirror, she said there was a woman in a black cloak standing around or in between her family, and the family was standing around her. And she said they had this sign. It was the size of she said like a 4x8 sheet of plywood, but she still couldn't read it. And so I suggested that maybe she put the Bible there and some other stuff to, if it was bad, maybe it wouldn't come back, if
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
if it was something bad. And so she put the Bible there and some palm leaves that she had, and she put her glasses beside the bed so that she could put her glasses on and see it. Tried to see it clearer, and she did. And she put her glasses on, and she said when she put her glasses on, it started to fade away. So she keeps having I don't know what this deal is that she's seeing, or
Right.
have you ever heard of anything like that in the mirror?
Never. I mean, of course, I've heard of apparitions in the mirror, but nothing so elaborate. That's pretty incredible.
On a regular, like on a regular basis
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah. No.
She's pretty intuitive. She's one of the. She had told me once before. She said her and when she was in medical school that her and a colleague of hers in medical school, they had to sit and watch a patient at the end of life to pronounce them dead. You know, it was part of their training.
Right.
And she said her and this guy is sitting in the room, and they're watching this patient basically take their last breath. And she said as this patient takes their last breath, this mist comes up out of the body and then floats up to the ceiling and through the roof. And the guy looked at her, and he said, "I'll be damned, it's real." Our soul does go on.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I thought you guys would find these stories interesting. So
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah. Keep them coming, brother. Anytime you hear anything new, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sure will, man. I'm a paranormal junkie, and I'm always on the prowl listening for new information, man. So if I get anything new, I'll pass it your guys' way. All right.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. It's great to hear from you again.
You're welcome. Good talking to you guys.
All right. Take care.
Party
See ya.
on.
Party on.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, very cool. We got another call, and this is area code 701.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can hear you. Can hear you.
My hair smells nice, right?
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous. Long time listener, first time caller tonight.
I don't
But,
think so, but
I don't
anyway,
Thank you for the
what's on your mind, brother?
Donnie's beautiful, wonderful smelling hair.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
A couple things.
Mhm.
I don't know who I am, but I don't know, how can we as a family in the paranormal get you enough energy, Brent, to do your epic all-nighter, half a nighter, or quarter of a day
Oh gosh.
Halloween show?
Parathon? Oh my God. I don't know. I don't even know how much energy I would need to do that, brother. It was a great time doing it and I loved it, but it was really,
A trial.
it was, it was fun. And of course the time actually went quick in most cases, but there were times where it was just like, you're prying your eyeballs apart just to keep going and trying to think of things to say when your mind is swimming. And it was fun. It was cool to do. And I'd like to do another Parathon again. I just don't know that I'm quite there yet. Maybe in the warmer months when I feel like I got more energy, but man, these cooler months are just killing me. Not literally, but you know what I mean? It's just,
Well, I get it, and I apologize for making such a statement on the air with everybody else going, yeah. But
well,
we did enjoy it.
We're going to do an extended show for sure. So it'll be extended. It'll be longer than 2 hours, but I don't know how much longer. So I don't want to say it's a portal-thon and then it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of portal-thon is that?
Right.
What kind of parathon is that? So
Well,
I don't want to overcommit myself. It may go longer. I don't know.
I do absolutely understand. But the other thing I wanted to bring up is one thing that I've been struggling with lately as I start learning more and more of my Native American ancestry. And I start trying to calculate the numbers of Anishinaabe people that were here in North America.
Okay.
And it is way greater than the numbers that were taught in school. And maybe this is ethnocentric, but with that being the case, if there were such abundant of Native Americans on North America, and because the majority of these Native Americans and the conditions that they lived in, especially over the last 400 years, were, for lack of a better term, slaughtered and died horrifically.
Yeah.
So would there not be a greater amount of hauntings or mischievous, or I would think it would be more deliberate, angered entities out there?
I got a couple of feelings about this. I don't pretend to know much about the First Nations, especially the Anishinaabe culture and practices, but I think for those kind of things, even though they were horrid and horrible, I think that from what I understand, and this is just me on the outside looking in, and I'm just throwing this together as I'm sitting here, but it seems like the First Nation cultures were very much in tune with themselves, with the earth, with the cycles, with the seasons, and with the calendar of life. And of course, death is hard for any culture. It doesn't become not hard, but it just seems that, for hauntings and stuff, you have to have a lot of spirits that are not at rest or in turmoil of sorts. And it just seems to me spiritually that the First Nations always seem to be so well grounded and like, sure, it wasn't, it's obviously not a good thing, but that they accepted all the phases of life with equal vigor, not like, not just their breathing, living life, but the life that follows, the land, the journey that follows that. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Does that make sense to you, Nase?
Absolutely. I agree with that. But in my experience with the paranormal, excuse me, I can't confirm or deny that was cannabis or Corona. But when I have my experiences with what I feel are my ancestors or my people, I get frustrated because they speak to me in Anishinaabe. And I don't know it well enough. I know Bungie at the Go a little bit, for ceremony, ritual, and meeting and greeting and stuff like that, but I'm not by far fluent in it. And so I will call my elders that I know are fluid, and I'll be like, what does this word mean? You know, and they're like, where'd you hear that word? And I'm like, well, in my dream last night or in a vision, you know, and and so it's interesting as we meet these entities in our existence, you know, how do we know if they're factual entities of this, that, or the other thing, when we know, as you were just talking with the last caller, that the powers that should not be now have the technological advancement to where they can use an electromagnetic beam and put thought and feeling into your brain.
Sure. I guess that's always going to be the big question mark. I don't know how to answer that, brother.
Oh, come on, Brent. I know you know everything.
Well, you know, I mean, it's. I would say use your intuition, but if they're modifying your feelings too, it's hard to know what to believe at that point. But I guess I would just consider the message being given, because if it is something of a conspiratorial nature, then they're probably not giving you the best kind of information that would move you forward. They're probably got an agenda attached to it, you know. Right. But if it's wholesome, if it helps you to grow or come to understanding, or, you know, move through your issues in life and with, you know, understanding and that knowledge, then I would have to believe it was spiritual in nature. But, you know, it's a crapshoot for me. I don't know. That's a great question.
Well, I also agree with that. And you said something pivotal, that we utilize our skills that we have, our different modalities of taking discernment of the situation. And with critical thinking and absolute honesty, we know if the information is beneficial to our being positive. And so then why not take the information and utilize it for that benefit? However, William Bill Cooper, he talked about how some of this back engineering technology that the government utilizes, they will use it, and this correlates with the last caller, to cause even more uprising or to sway the narrative of the UFO phenomenon, especially when you research and you look up blue beam.
Yeah.
So that's when you have to take that self-accusation or that self-acknowledgement of, is it positive, is it neutral, is it negative? And the positiveness is having the opportunity to be here listening to you guys and enjoying the chat at the same time. So thank you so much. I love you, brothers. We'll talk to you sooner or later. Toodles.
Take care, brother.
Night, Naysay.
Later.
I heard you.
I wasn't sure exactly when, because I was expecting a little love message for you. But all right, well, that's cool. Great calls tonight, guys. We really appreciate that. Obviously, we love to hear from you guys. How we doing? Oh, we got time left.
Oh, wow.
We got time. Still got time on the clock. So, do you guys want to hear about some leprechauns?
Leprechauns.
Or do you want to get into some Bigfoot reports? What are you thinking, Don?
You know, that's up to you, man. Brent Swanser's a great writer, though.
I know he is great, but I hate to burn up all his material in one night too.
No, like that's possible.
Well, no,
God, he's got more written articles than we have videos on YouTube, and we got an awful freaking lot.
I wonder how many we got. We got well over 800.
We have well over 800.
Yeah, we're like at near the 850 range now.
You know that means that we're pushing 1,500 hours.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of material out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you're ever hankering for some Portal, head on over to YouTube and check out our archives. You know, lots going on there. We got tons of shows on archive.
So we have 2 votes for leprechauns, 1 for Bigfoot, another vote for leprechauns.
All right, we'll go with leprechauns because we don't have a lot of time here, but let's hear about the leprechauns. Very good. Thank you all for participating in our little survey. let's get started on some leprechauns, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this is courtesy of Brent Swanser and MysteriousUniverse.org. Both incredible in their own rights. So let's continue. And this is bizarre cases of real encounters with leprechauns. So let's see where we go here. This is perhaps no more famous. There is perhaps no more famous a figure from Irish lore than the fairy tale creature known as the leprechaun. They are typically depicted as diminutive little people, a type of fairy entity with beards and dressed up in coats and hats. And in most lore, they're considered to be mischievous pranksters, although it's also very good at cobbling shoes and making handicrafts. The popular notion in the mainstream is of them having a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. And by most every account of them, one would think that these beings must be purely confined to the realms of myth and folklore. There's actually surprisingly large numbers of outlandish, unlikely cases. One of these weird stories was related by Reddit user HelpfulPerson1, who says he was told this report by a professional-looking Irishman who he had struck up a conversation with. The topic turned to folklore, and the poster says, "Having been long fascinated with Irish folklore, and being a strong believer in the good folk, I couldn't resist asking him if he believed in the Fae. When I asked this, his friendly eyes became serious and a bit nostalgic, and he said, 'I do. And my father saw a leprechaun once.'" I see that one.
You did, yeah.
I did it. Yeah.
You rolled it. Yep.
I went full Irish there. Clear as day, he saw it. The story went something like this. I'll try to type this in the man's beautiful and lyrical Irish way of speaking so you can hear him say it. "My old man was very kind but stoic. He didn't tell this to many people, and when I asked him about it, he would hush me unless we were alone or with family. They knew as well. But anyway, it happened in his hometown, a rural village that must have had a population of about 100 people at the time. As a kid, he'd walk home from the local national school, I was going to say international, school to the family's house that was outside of town. One day, he was walking along, and just before his house, he saw a wee fella sitting on the edge of the road. And this lad was tiny. He gestured to the length of about 2 feet. And he was wearing tweed, a vest, and a hat, red hair, and he was sitting down making leather shoes. Just like you hear leprechauns do. But anyway, my dad couldn't believe it. He blinked, looked around, but the lad was still there, just working away on his shoes. So my dad started walking up to him, and when he got to about 3 meters away, he couldn't get any closer. It was like my dad hit a force field or something around the leprechaun. Mind you, the wee fella hadn't looked up the whole time. My dad sprinted to his front door, screaming for his sister all the way to come look, and he and my aunt, who was just a kid at the time, ran back outside to see, but the leprechaun was gone. Just had disappeared like nothing. Is this just a tall tale or something more? A tall tale. Ba-dum-bum. A very strange story that appeared in various news sources at the time comes from 1964 in the city of Liverpool, England, at a place called Jubilee Park. Here there are expanses of green parkland, peaceful meadows, and golf courses, and it was here that in that year people began reporting that they had seen leprechauns lurking about, especially in the area called Bowling Greens. The otherworldly tiny beings were described as being anywhere from just a few inches tall to several feet and had the traditional appearance of being bearded little men with bushy eyebrows and dressed in white hats with green coats. And some of the reports even said that the men themselves had green skin. The creatures were mostly called leprechauns by the witnesses, and the media picked up the term. One witness at the time would say, "I was one of the school children that saw the leprechauns. I attended Bray Street School, and we all saw them popping in and out of a window overlooking the schoolyard.
Wow.
There were about 4 of them, all tiny, dressed like a school book idea of a typical gnome. And they sat swinging their legs on the window ledge, getting in and out. What they were, I don't know. I only know that what they look like, and I'd love to know the truth. I certainly remember leprechauns and actually saw a few of them on Kensington Fields, close to the library. But my parents and and other adults tried to convince me that I'd been seeing things. This would be one afternoon in early July 1964 at around 4:30 p.m. And I remember it as if it were yesterday. I was 10 at the time, and on my way to play football with my mates, and saw these little, I'd say just a few inches tall, men dressed in red and black standing in the grass looking at me. I'm sure one of them had some type of hat on. Well, I panicked and ran all the way home. My mom said there had been reports of leprechauns and little men on Jubilee Drive and Edge Lane the day before. That same evening, crowds turned up on Jubilee Drive, and I remember a girl with a jam jar, and she was going to put the leprechauns in it. When the reports such as this became publicized, they generated a lot of interest, and crowds of people, especially children, began to gather at the Bowling Green in the hopes of seeing them. The crowd of curiosity seekers grew so large that police had to go in and clear everyone out, but the reports continued on. In that same year, there was a woman living nearby who would claim to have seen 3 little men wearing green, and they were all sitting on a wall and lobbing stones at her, barking dog. And another saw one climbing a tree. Adding to the weirdness of it all was that there were also several UFO sightings in the area during that same year. Maybe that's where the Malaysian guys went. Although what connection do these have to the leprechauns, Flap, is unknown. It is also not known why they were called leprechauns other than their appearance, although there is a large population of descendants of Irish immigrants in the area. The report of beings throwing things is interesting because some other reports from the area at the time described the leprechauns as often tossing sods of earth or rocks at each other or dumbfounded witnesses. And not only does this fit in well with their traditional sense of mischief, but there are other accounts that feature this propensity for throwing things. In another account from the book Mysterious Disappearances and Other Strange Tales by Ron Quinn, there is an account of a couple called Rick and Joyce, who were apparently owned a remote mountain cabin getaway, where they would spend their weekends. And one day they were out tending to their garden when a small stone landed at their feet, seeming to come out of nowhere. Puzzled, they looked around and at first suspected that perhaps a squirrel had dropped the stone from a tree, but there was nothing there. And as they looked, another stone fell lightly lobbed from the branches and obviously not meant to harm. Another stone followed, bouncing against the porch and tumbling down the steps. The baffled couple looked up into the trees, once again staring through the branches, and this time they claimed that they saw the face of a little man peering out from the leaves at them, which they called a leprechaun, wearing a bright, pointy hat and sporting a full beard. The little man was only of about a foot in height and seemed to smile at them before jumping down from the tree onto the roof of the cabin and disappearing into the brush. The couple tried to coax the strange little man back out, but he was gone. And they would not make another sighting. Again, we are faced with the question of what is this entity, creature, whatever you want to call it. Whatever did it want? What was the meaning of these tossed rocks? Why did it smile at them? Was it trying to play with them? Was this a gesture of aggression? We'll never know. From the same book is the tale of a man called Pat O'Leary, and as an older report suggests, supposedly from the year 1884. Pat apparently saw a little leprechaun standing just 15 inches high, standing along a rural road, and decided to chase him. The gnome-like being was described as being remarkably quick and agile for his size, but somehow he managed to keep up with it. He purportedly chased it into a clearing, but it had vanished. As Pat looked around for it, he was suddenly pelted in the forehead by a ball of mud, which would later prove to have left an inexplicable mole behind. Whatever this thing was, it did apparently not appreciate being chased. It is curious how many reports of supposed leprechauns happen outside of Ireland or even the British Isles, yet there are still described as leprechauns. One Reddit poster called Existential Dream 14 claims that she knows 2 people who had leprechaun encounters in western Pennsylvania. in the United States. The first tale, she says, comes from a police officer she calls Mike, who worked for her ex-boyfriend's father, the chief of police. On this day, Mike was out on patrol, driving down the road that on either side was a field of tall, dead brown grass where a series of very bizarre events would play out. She says, all of a sudden, Mike saw what he thought was an animal coming out of the grass on the left side. He said he saw the next sequence of events as if in slow motion. He tried to slow his cruiser down, and he saw that it was not an animal, but indeed a small, bald, dirty man dressed in ragged clothes, approximately 2 feet tall, running out from the grass. Well, he slammed on the brakes. The cruiser did not stop fast enough, and he hit the small man with the front of the car. The man flew up into the air. Mike jumped out and ran to the front. He said he looked right down at the small man, who then noticed had reddish-brown hair. The little man began a screaming, evil laugh and hopped up, running into the grass on the right side of the road. Mike ran after him, but all he heard was the sound of his evil, mocking laugh. When Mike got back to the station, he was visibly shaken. My ex's father said that he was pale white and could barely choke out a story. When he finished telling them what had happened, everyone except my ex's dad began howling with laughter. The other cops teased him relentlessly about the Leprechaun story since it was about 3 weeks before St. Patrick's Day. One of the cops went to the dollar store and picked up a Leprechaun hat, left it on Mike's doorstep with a note stuck in the brim saying, I'm coming for you, Mikey. The next morning, Mike came in crying and told my ex's father he was quitting the police. My ex's father believed Mike and said he could tell he was extremely sincere in his belief that he'd hit a leprechaun. He told the other cops to leave him alone about it, and Mike worked with him for years to come. I first heard this story from my ex's father. I could tell he really believed Mike had seen what he'd seen. Later that year, Mike was over at my ex's house. I asked Mike about the story, and he grew pale and quiet, and he told me exactly the same story my ex's father told me earlier. He insists, and he has always insisted, that he hit a leprechaun with his car that day. The poster's second account supposedly comes from her childhood best friend, Susan, who lived in a rural farmhouse that was purportedly haunted. She says that Susan would often tell her about strange things that happened in that old house or on their property, and one of the stories was even stranger than most. She explains, one morning she came into school and told me in a whisper that she had seen a leprechaun in the hallway of her room the night before. I could tell it scared her. I asked her if she'd ever seen it before, and she said that she had. She said she'd heard rustling noises out in the hallway and gotten out of her bed to peek around the corner, and in the corner of the hall, she saw a small man approximately 2 feet tall in dirty clothes with red hair. She froze with fear. Then she said the man disappeared. She said she'd seen him before out of the corner of her eye, moving in the hallway on all hours of the day, rather. I remember her clear as day saying to me that it did not look like the leprechaun on the Lucky Charms box. They're always after me, Lucky Charms. Being an amateur paranormal investigator, even at 9, I asked her to draw me a picture, and I still have the picture somewhere at my parents' house. She drew a small man with red hair standing in her doorway, or in her hallway. She believed she saw the leprechaun one more time when she told me she never saw it again. It should be noted, too, that Susan was not asleep or in her bed at the time she thought she saw the leprechaun. She would see it out of the hallway or out of the corner of her eye, while she was upstairs. I believe, too, she saw it over a 6-month period. A lot of strange things happened in her house, and I know she believed what she saw, and it wasn't just making up stories. The poster sums it all up by giving her own theory that what these two people saw were probably a type of impish entity called Tommyknockers, which are very similar to leprechauns in some ways. She says of this hypothesis, now that I'm older and do paranormal investigation myself, I believe that what Mike and Susan both saw were what are called Tommyknockers. Tommyknockers are leprechaun-like creatures believed by immigrant coal miners to live in the mines and move tools and such things, and this being western Pennsylvania, each location where the leprechaun was seen was above or near a coal mine. They are often described as dirty, scraggly, sharp-featured looking little men with reddish hair. I cannot express how sincere both of them were to me when telling me their stories. I personally know 2 people who claim to have seen a leprechaun and are very sincere in their belief of having seen a leprechaun. Also, the stories are very believable. I personally believe they've seen Tommyknockers, which is sort of the USA version of a leprechaun. It seems that leprechauns are that sometimes these supposed leprechauns, gnomes, Tommyknockers, whatever they are, can go beyond mere mischief and rock throwing to be very sinister indeed, even physically menacing the witness. One such account from mysterious disappearances and other strange tales allegedly happened in Canada in 2004 to a witness called Kirk W. He claims that as he and his wife were driving back from visiting family along a wooded road, there appeared 2 frantic women who flagged them down. Thinking that they had been an accident, Kirk pulled over, and the 2 women excitedly began to spin a wild tale indeed. They claimed that they had been driving along the road when 6 or 7 tiny little men with floppy hats, beards, and shaggy clothing had come cavorting out of the forest and caused them to slam on their brakes. 3 of the little men came charging towards the car, as if in a sort of challenge, and then another had jumped onto the hood of the vehicle and jumped up and down on it while scowling at the terrified occupants. This went on for about 2 minutes before the little men either calmed down or got bored, and they all filed away into the wilderness. Kirk says that he went up to investigate the scene of the supposed encounter, and while he didn't see any gnomes himself, he did see some inexplicable movement in the brush. From Reddit user Snickers Cowboy. Okay. We have a rather menacing encounter with a leprechaun that he believes may be somehow tied to his dead stepfather, who was of Irish ancestry, and he says that the 2 of them had never gotten along, and that he was often very disrespectful when talking about him after his death, which is perhaps the reason for his ensuing bizarre experience with a leprechaun. He explains all of this. Bit of a backstory first. My stepfather was originally from Southern Ireland, County Mayo to be exact. He came to the UK in the in the 70s, met my mom when I was 2, and married her. They went on to have 3 more children. I never got along with him and was treated pretty unfairly by him growing up. Lots of people apart from me also thought he was a jerk. I'll say jerk, but there's the word if you're curious. For various things and his behavior.
So you
I highlighted, yeah. My siblings, though, understandably adored him. He died last September and left me out of his final will, quite intentionally. A few weeks back, I was talking to my wife, and I was telling her things he had done to me when growing up and how I really felt about him. It's my way of closure, I guess. I wasn't very respectful, and I don't believe respect is given just because you're dead. It's earned whilst alive. One particular night around 3 a.m., and I'd been quite vocal for the most of the evening, I was lying next to my wife, and if it was a dream, then it was the clearest one I've ever had. The previously dark room lightened considerably. Bedroom door flew open, and a male figure leapt about 6 feet from the door on top of me. This figure was quite small and felt almost weightless. He was dressed in really old-fashioned black clothes, like a funeral bearer from a Sherlock Holmes story. A twisted, angry face, but most prominent was bright orange curly hair and sideburns, and he said some words I couldn't actually hear. I'm also hearing impaired, though. But I saw his mouth moving, and he lifted a short black twisted stick high into the air, thin on the bottom, heavy on the top, and he brought it down, but before it actually hit me, I opened my eyes wider, and he vanished. I lay there fully awake for a good while, truly wondering if it actually happened. I wasn't really scared, but very wary, and there's no sign or evidence when I got up to check for signs. My wife had slept through the whole thing. These cases and others like them are certainly on the fringe and leave us to wonder just what to make of them. If there is anything to this at all, then what could we possibly be dealing with here? Are these some type of fairy folk, interdimensional phenomena, or something else? Or are these legends and lore that have just managed to spill out into the real world through tall tales and exaggeration? Are they myth or reality? Whatever the case may be, such reports still make the rounds out there and serve to add layers to the world of the weird. That's cool. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another masterpiece by Brent Swanser.
That's really interesting. I'm surprised he didn't mention the Kirikans.
Yeah, well,
They're drunken cousins.
because they're not leprechauns. The Kirikans are the drunk, I don't know, bad neighbor. They're like the drunk uncle that shows up at Thanksgiving.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. But good stories. Awesome stories. Wow. And that really did eat up the rest of the show, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It did, yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this journey into the Paranormal Portal. I certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. I know, Don, you did as well, right?
Say that again?
Did you enjoy doing the show?
Of course I did. Of course I did.
Are you
know,
here?
it was really nice that we had all those calls. That was the really cool part.
That is.
You know, started off with Kathy and just kept going from there. So,
Yeah.
But it has been wonderful.
A wonderful journey.
Wonderful.
Right here.
That's awesome.
It's been a wonderful journey here on the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. If you're not subscribed, please get subscribed. If you want to help support the show, check out the description for this video. There's a few options there for you, or just help us out. Share it to your social media. Share these videos as you find them and as you see them, and if you enjoy them, put them out there. Let other people see them, and we'd really appreciate it. That helps us out a ton. Helps to spread the word about the portal, which we're really interested in doing. We're like a bad rash. We just want to spread.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
I'm just saying.
There's a cream for that, you know.
There might be an ointment for it, but we hope you don't find it. Because, we're having fun doing this. So. Just keep scratching, ladies and gentlemen. Just keep scratching. But we do have one more call. Let's get to this, huh?
Wow,
One more call. We can close the show with a call. That'll be
Can you pronounce that city name?
Tillamook, yeah.
Tillamook.
Tillamook. Isn't it Mook?
No.
It's Muck?
Tillamook.
Okay. All right. Wireless caller from area code 503. You're on the air.
Hey, fellas. How you doing?
Good, good. Who are we talking to today?
This is, I go by Bullbuck. I'm from Oregon, and I'm a retired logger. And
Ooh.
I just thought I'd let you guys know what I seen. Actually, I broke my back in a logging accident, and some really weird stuff happened right before all that went down. But this is a Sasquatch story. I think it was a Sasquatch.
Nice.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
And this is I don't know if you guys know much about Pacific Northwest logging, but we're way up in the mountains, and it's really steep ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of snow, a lot of bad weather, and we have it's like a giant winch with a huge 90-foot tower with big cables that holds it down, and then we span huge lines that go across the canyon to pull logs up to the top of the hill. And we have we call it a sky car, and it's probably about half the size of a small vehicle. Mm-hmm. And it has a drum in it, and anyways, it's part of the process. It's one of our tools that we use to bring wood up to the landing.
Okay.
And anyways, it's a big piece of machinery, and we were getting there at work in the morning, and this thing would be, I guess, if you took a pack of cigarettes and sat it on its side, that's about what this thing's shaped like.
Oh, okay.
And remember, it's probably half the size of a vehicle, but it's very heavy because it has all that cable inside of it. It's all that wire rope.
Oh, sure.
Very, very heavy. Well, this thing would be tipped down and all the diesel spilled out of it. The second morning, same thing happened. And we're thinking, maybe vandals or, we get a lot of problems with, people wanting to save the trees, and they
Sure.
come up there and tear our stuff down and all that. But we were thinking maybe that's what it was. But we got to thinking there was no tire tracks in the mud. You'd have to have almost more than a 4-wheel drive to get to it,
Wow.
to pull it over with a vehicle. This thing was, but there was no footprints.
Oh.
That's what was weird. Now, there were some footprints later on in the story, but I'll get to that later. But
Sure.
so anyways, that kind of slowed down and quit happening. And that happened maybe 3 days in a row.
Okay.
And then one time we went down, and I was the hook tender. I was kind of the supervisor of this outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked way in the back. I'd be like on the other side of the canyon. That's where my job is at.
Oh.
And then you got the rigging crew, which are called choker setters. Well, I had one of the choker setters come to the back and help me, and I had to have him help back. We got these 80 to carry and haywire coils, which is small cable, and I had him carry some stuff down through this small, we call it reprod. They're baby trees, and we were going to move our lines over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back, and he wasn't talking, and he was acting really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him if there was something wrong, and he goes, "Oh, no. And anyways, he ended up quitting.
Oh.
And he never said nothing, never said anything, and this was maybe 2 days after the Sky Car incident.
Okay.
He just ups and quit. He was he was just out of high school. He was a young kid. I liked him a lot. He was a good worker.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so he's gone. And then now remember, I don't work around anybody else. I'm probably half a mile from anybody else. That's where my job is.
Okay.
And I work alone. I'm back in the timber, way back in the bottom of the canyon, all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I start hearing the bipedal footsteps in the brush. Now I'm a hunter. I know what elk and deer sound like.
Okay.
This was not elk and deer. This was smashing, heavy foot thud.
Wow.
And I thought maybe, one of the choker setters was going to come back here and play a practical joke on me or try to scare me or something like that, because we always screwed with each other like that.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't. And then that happened, and this was over about a period of a whole month, guys.
Okay.
So then, the next day, I'd go down there, and I would hide my chainsaw, so that no one would steal it, and I would tuck all my tools, kind of hide them away.
Mm-hmm.
Get down there the next morning, and my stuff is unhidden and scattered.
Oh no!
But if it was a thief, they would have took the chainsaw, because you're looking at $1,000 tool there.
Wow. Okay.
Chainsaw was there, and now this is what really got me.
Okay.
I have a rigging axe, and it's like a small hatchet. It's a tool that we use for knocking pins out of blocks.
Okay.
And I always make it a habit of when I never hide my axe. I always, if you take an axe and chop it into the side of a tree and it just sits there,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that. Well, that's how I would store my hatchet, my rigging axe.
Okay.
Well, I come back and it's maybe, 4 feet off the ground as you're facing the tree. I come down there, guys, and this thing, it's chopped in the tree 9 feet up the tree.
Oh my God.
Now, I don't know if whatever this thing was watching me do it, and it thought it could do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then, my choker setters are so far away, distance-wise, work-wise, there's no way I can hear them talking, and I keep hearing people talking.
Oh man.
Like that chatter,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I keep hearing this chatter, and I'm like, who in the hell is around here. I thought maybe it was maybe one of the state guys that they owned the land, or they own the land, and I thought maybe it was one of the timber cruisers coming down there to check on the job and stuff. And usually they wear white hard hats, and they're pretty easy to spot. They got the fluorescent yellow vests on and stuff. And there hadn't been no states guys down there for like a week. And I kept hearing this chatter, and this little, like, almost giggly laughter, like, it was just creepy. And this whole time I'm just thinking, what in the hell is going on? And then things kind of died down for a while, and then I had to string some haywire through this rock pit, and I came across some footprints. Now, I don't know if they were Sasquatch footprints, but they looked, because sometimes bears can step. Sure. Their back foot can step in their front footprint. Yeah. And if that happens, it looks like a big footprint. It could have been that. Okay. But I'm not saying that it was. But those were, and they were kind of like in a straight line, not staggered like you'd think they would be. Okay. It was just straight, like if you was to walk, it's hard to explain. They weren't staggered. It was just a straight line of footprints. Like if you're walking on. Noticed the straight. Like if you're walking on a tightrope. Yeah, just exactly. They were straight, and they were like if you was really stretching out. Yeah. Because they were along. They were a long ways away, okay. And as far as space, I don't know, maybe 4 feet. You'd have to stretch to walk like that. Yeah. And then the weirdest, and then toward the end, I'm going to get to the end of the story here real quick. Toward the end, right toward the last, this was like 2 days before I broke my back. Mm-hmm. I was packing my block going down through there, and all of a sudden I heard there was like a loud scream, and I really don't remember it that well because I got really dizzy. All of a sudden I've never had a stroke, but it would almost be like I had a stroke or something. Sure. It felt like, I thought I was having a stroke because I've never felt like this before, but I got really, really dizzy, and a little bit of blood came out of my nose. Oh my God. My vision was all screwed up, and it was the scream was loud, very loud, almost like it was right next to me. Oh man! Everything went quiet, and I literally bent over, dropped that 80-pound block, and I just felt like I was completely exhausted. Right. And I was literally so exhausted I couldn't stand up to look around. Mm-hmm. I was almost like frozen. Right. And at that moment, guys, I started hearing that chatter again, but that chatter was right above my head. Oh, God. Wow. Now, this is the first time I've ever told this story, you guys. I have never told this story ever in my life. Sure. But I figured since I'm retired and I'm not working anymore, I won't have to worry about getting any ridicule about it. But sure. I'm shaking just telling it. Wow. But the fact that I could not stand up and look around to see, to try to defend myself or to see what this was, I was frozen and I couldn't move. And then all of a sudden, it was like I was in a void. And then all of a sudden, it was like time slowed down kind of. And then all of a sudden, it slowly came back. Oh. And it slowly came back, and then it kind of went away. Okay. And what was it? 2 days later, I got hurt on the job. And but I think that if I wouldn't have got hurt, what that last thing that happened to me scared me so bad, I think I might have quit. I have never ever. I've had sleep paralysis before, and that is like a fear that is unexplainable. That's what the fear was like. Wow. And I've had close calls with death. I've had logs swing through the air and almost smash my head. I've had logs roll down the hill, root wads the size of a pickup come down the hill at me and stuff. That's a certain kind of fear. But this when I was bent over and couldn't move, and I was hearing that thing above my head,
Mm-hmm.
it was like an eternal type fear, like a fear of soul,
Yeah.
like something was stripping your soul.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's kind of what it was like. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I've experienced out there, but that was probably that's my top. That's the scariest thing I've ever seen in the woods. Out of working in the woods for 20 years, that was the scariest thing I've ever seen or experienced. And I didn't let anybody else know about it. I got hurt. I went to the hospital, had surgery on my back, and I went to the guys I worked with were my friends, and I'd asked him, I'd say, hey, you guys been having trouble with that sky car up there anymore? Or
Mm-hmm.
any vandals been coming around? No, we haven't had no trouble.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
so I kind of thought to myself, man, was that thing just after me or what?
Yeah.
Of course, that kid quit, though, too. That kid seen something.
Sure, he did. Yeah.
He seen something.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He didn't want to say nothing either. But I'd sure like to get a hold of him now. I don't know where he ever went to, but I'd sure like to find him to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of liking to talk to you,
But-
would you be interested in coming on to the podcast and let me interview you?
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Well, if you would please, or if you don't mind, if I write down your phone number, I'd like you to share this to our podcast audience as well. It's not we have a lot bigger audience on our podcast, but your story is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, awesome.
And we'd love to record your experiences if you're game. I'd love to get a hold of you and figure out when we can do that because it's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of other little stuff.
Mhm.
I've heard that, like chatter and stuff like that on a lot of other different jobs, but
Sure.
But yeah, this was probably my scariest thing
Wow,
that's ever happened. But yeah, I could do that.
Okay, brother.
Hey, Bullbuck, just so you know, I'm actually from the peninsula over there, and my cousins, they're 78, 75, 78, been out in that peninsula all of their life logging it. That's what they do. And so, yeah, I'm very familiar with that area up there. I know Squim and Forks and all of that area up in there. I was born in Grays Harbor. So, yeah, I know that area.
Oh, okay. So then so then you're familiar with what logging outfit looks like and stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And I've been bugging my cousins. They're retired now. They used to be they used to go down and do Loggers Play Day in Hoquiam and at Olympic Stadium and all that. And I've been on one of my cousins for like ever to try and get him to see if, do you have any stories? Has anybody told you any stories? And I just can't crack that egg. I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing of it is loggers they're kind of a different breed.
Yeah.
It really are. They're hard-headed, they're tough people, and
Yep.
and I've been watching your guys' show for a long time, and I've just been contemplating for a long time. Should I call in? And tonight I thought, you know what, let's just do it.
Tonight's the
And
night.
I feel better. I really do. I feel like I've been lifted off my shoulder. My wife passed away years ago, but I never told her about it. I never told my kids.
Wow. Well,
Nobody. This story has never been told.
well,
And it's something I've held in, and just, it felt good to tell. It really did.
Well, I'm
I
glad.
didn't realize how much. Yeah, I just didn't realize how much I had,
Yeah.
bound up in me with this story. Until now.
Well, if you don't mind,
But,
I will get a hold of you, and definitely we'll dial this in. But I'd love to hear all your stories if you don't mind sharing, or whatever you want to share. But it's absolutely fascinating, and you've got some great stuff.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose him? We lost him.
No, we lost the.
Oh, we lost the feed?
No, I lost the connection. Let me call back. If you're still there, just listen.
Hold on. We're coming back. Hold on.
That's the wrong number. I'm calling the wrong number. I just called the wrong number. There it is. I just called the wrong number. I don't know. Somebody just got bothered. Hang on the line. Don't hang up. Don't
Stay,
quit.
stay there. Stay there. Answer your phone again.
No, he's still on the line.
Oh, well, hold on.
He's still there.
Oh boy, it's not my fault, portable tree.
No. It's just the way of the
Oh
world.
my goodness.
Well, I have his number, so I know I can get a hold of him, but that's just brilliant.
Oh wow.
I think
Oh, there you are.
There you
I
are.
can hear you guys now.
Yeah.
our connection just dropped, so it's like,
Wow.
oh no.
That's okay.
So, but yeah, I will definitely get in touch with you. If you want to email me too at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com and just tell me when the best time to talk is, and we'll dial it in.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Okay, it's
No.
Paranormal Portal Radio.
Yes.
Yep. At gmail.com.
Okay.
At gmail.com.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool.
Awesome, brother.
Wow, yeah.
Thank you so much for, first of all, thank you for trusting us.
Yes.
I'm always honored by any of you out there that decide to share your stories, but it's great to hear that trust and that belief in us, and we're absolutely honored. And every call that you guys make is sacred to us. So, I would love to share your experiences with our podcast audience as well. So,
Yep, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
outstanding.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. This was really really emotional for me because
Wow, yeah.
holding something like that in for that long, it's just I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I consider myself kind of a tough guy, but man, that really that kind of that was emotional for me. Wow.
And I have no doubt that you are.
But yeah,
what you went through, it might have killed somebody less,
Yeah.
So, you made it,
Yeah.
and you're a survivor, and you got a story to tell. So we'd love to hear it. So,
There you go.
but thank you, brother. I
Yeah.
appreciate you calling.
but I'll tell you
Okay.
guys. Also one more thing is I did get a glimpse of it. I got a glimpse of this thing. So they are real, you guys. They are. I don't know what they are, but they are real.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to leave you with that.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much, and I'll be in touch with you. Just email me and let me know when to contact you, and we'll get in touch and make it happen.
Okay, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir. That's perfect.
Right
Awesome.
on, fellas. Hey, you guys are amazing.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. You too.
All right,
And thanks.
love all you guys.
All right, we love you too, man. Take care.
Okay, right on. Take care, guys. Bye.
Wow.
How's that for an ending? Huh?
Wow.
That's about as good as it gets right there, Don.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
every call is awesome. Don't get me wrong. That's not like one story
No,
is so much
that was
better.
just the perfect ending.
I mean, it was just going to be over, and then pow, this call happened. So very, very cool. And thank you to all of you for being a part of what we're doing and for encouraging and supporting and helping us spread the word. You guys are amazing. We do love you guys sincerely. I know a lot of people use those words loosely, like, "Oh, we love you guys. We'll be back. Love you guys." But honest to God, you guys are family.
Settle down, Cartman.
You guys, hey guys, come on. You guys are truly our family. So that's it for tonight, huh, Don?
Yeah, I got to call it quits because I got to work in the morning.
All right. Well, we got to get Don to bed. So,
Yep. Sounds good.
but we love you all. Anything in closing, Don?
Spooky 20 for your discount at our Teespring store. That's teesprings.com/stores with an S/paranormal-portal and Spooky 20 to get your paranormal Halloween gear.
Absolutely. So I'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with the Night Terrors. And so I hope you guys will join me then. And I guess that's all I got for you. So
That's
love
it.
you all.
We're
Be
done.
good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And cue the credits.